Black Clover Chapter 379 and 380 are officially out. I cannot believe it's been another quarter of the year already, but we're finally back with some more Black Clover goodness. And man, these last two chapters that we just got have been absolutely insane. We got a power-up, we got some insane fights with Lucius, we got some lore reveals, and just the turning of the tides once more in this big, epic final battle. And as always, the art and action have been fantastic. And I do have some ideas for maybe some actual Black Clover videos to do before the next batch of chapters come out, if I get the opportunity to. But before I jump into this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for updates on future videos. Really helps, and it shows you guys enjoy the content I make here on the channel, and shows you want to see more Black Clover goodness. Also, if you haven't already, go and check out my second channel, GW Comics, where I talk about American comic books. Right now, I'm primarily focusing on Absolute DC. I just released a big 45-minute plus video on the first 5 issues of Absolute Batman, with videos on issues 6 and 7 coming out within the coming week or two. So look for that. It's a lot of fun. That channel is a side passion project of mine, and I would really appreciate it if you guys would check it out whenever you get the chance. Now then, on to the chapter. Chapter 379 of Black Clover, titled Absolute Messiah. And just like every single batch of chapters, we get a beautiful color spread. But this one is just of Asta, Libe, Mimosa, Fuegoleon, Rill, Charmy, Yuno, Marie, and Ghost just sitting in an open grass field and just relaxing, enjoying the day. ASTA'S Libe just in his chibi form on his chest, just laying down, enjoying the sunlight, having a nice nap. But the key aspect is Mimosa in that image, just staring down at Asta. Keynote, Noelle is not there whatsoever. I feel like Tabata is just teasing the Mimosa x Asta shippers. Also, Mimosa's looking good. Now then, on to the actual chapter. We continue from last chapter after Asta and Yuno seemingly defeated Lucius. As we cut back to see the rest of the Black Bulls and everybody that they have assisted have managed to take out all of the Lucius clones off screen. Now, this is something that I personally do not kind of like, but I understand. It would have been great if we got multiple, like 2 chapters at least, with each of these teams taking on each of these Lucius clones. But obviously, I feel like this will get expanded upon once the anime returns, as each of these fights could be their own episode entirely, and then we can really play around with the anti-magic boosted abilities of all of the Black Bulls, plus the Magic Knights and the captains that they are teaming up with to take on Lucius. And as everybody is saying that they seemingly won, we actually get to see that everybody in the Clover Kingdom is viewing the Black Bulls and the captains fighting and taking on the clones of Lucius and defeating them. And as they're just in awe, we then get to see, I forgot her name, the one girl from the tavern that has a crush on Asta, notices something going on with all of the Grimoire towers right now. As we cut back to the area in Lucius's throne room above the Clover Kingdom, with Asta and Yuna staring up, as it seems like Lucius has returned after being seemingly defeated. Lucius says, "Brilliant work, all of you, but the time has come. Witness the advent of the Wizard Emperor." In a full 2-page spread taken up entirely by Lucius, he seems to truly have entered his final form. And, as we saw in the previous panel that I forgot to mention, he now is showing his coverless grimoire. The last time we saw that was back when Julius was in full control of his persona, not even fully realizing that he was a sleeper agent and was Lucius all along. And with the grimoire no longer having a cover, it fully shows that now Lucius can unlock and use an infinite amount of spells. Also, I'm liking Lucius's final form here, not as much as how we saw the last form that he had in the previous chapter, but it's still really good, really gives that whole false messiah look for him. And apparently, the Lucius that they fought previously was just a clone. Even the ones that they just defeated, every single Lucius that they've seen up until this point has been a clone, but this one is the real one. As Lucius goes on to say, "The clones were time consuming to make, but they bought me time, and I, the original, was safely able to link all of the kingdom's grimoire towers with an ultra gargantuan spell," as we see images of the Clover Kingdom's grimoire towers, energy just seeping out of them and seemingly coming to where Lucius is. As Lucius drops some incredibly interesting lore about the grimoires in Black Clover, saying that ever since we humans were born into this world, the land has been studded with towers that house grimoires. What do you think your grimoires really are? They are wisdom granted by the gods. They amplify humans' nature, magic, further enhancing their spells. That is what grimoires do. And in a 2-page spread, Lucius goes on to explain that, by the way, when a mage dies, where do you suppose their grimoire goes? What happens to the spells they spent their life inscribing in it? They return to the tower that bestowed them, by connecting to all the wisdom the human race has developed and accumulated. I can use all those spells. As in a glorious panel, Lucius ends up unleashing a multitude of different elemental type spells that I can't even begin to fully comprehend by using this all at once, attacking and pushing Asta and Yuno back. Now, a quick pause here, because one, Lucius now having his limitless grimoire and having himself connected to the grimoire towers now means that every single grimoire and every single spell that's in those towers, he has full access to them. He has seemingly limitless magic, limitless spells that he can draw from. And also, this seems to potentially confirm gods in the Black Clover universe, at least to an extent. I mean, we have devils, might as well have gods in this universe, and Lucius is a false messiah when he created angels and paladins and stuff like that. But we get some really interesting lore about the grimoires. They were there from the beginning. No humans created them. They were there for humans to have, and like we knew from the power system of Black Clover, they change, give us new spells and abilities as characters just evolve as people. Stressful situations grow as people, have their worldview changed, depending on their emotional states, or even spirits to an extent. It's incredibly insane. And once someone dies, their grimoire goes back to the tower, so that wisdom can be locked away again, and then be given to somebody else who is worthy of that grimoire. That is incredibly insane. But now, after Lucius explains this, he teleports to where the former captain of the Purple Orcas is, and the thief from the very first chapter of Black Clover. These characters keep popping up. Presumably it's just like some sort of gag for Tama to use for like surprisingly useful characters, or just characters that are meant to just be fodder to emphasize a point. Anyway, Lucius appears behind them, and then we cut back to Marks and Mimosa as Mimosa is healing more and more people. Marks is panicking because he has no idea what's going up there against Lucius, begging Asta and Yuno to save the day essentially. And when Mimosa goes to ask Marks how many more wounded are left, he has disappeared. Only for us to cut back to Asta and Yuno as Lucius has teleported away and back with these three characters. Marks, the thief, and the Purple Orca former captain. I refuse to learn their names. They're not that important as characters in my opinion. But as Asta and Yuno are shocked, we get a badump from all three of them, and they fall to the ground with their grimoires just completely evaporating. As Lucius says, if you kill mages, like so, their grimoires return to the towers, and I can use their spells. As before Asta and Yuno react, Lucius uses the magic sealing chain from that thief that he just killed. So literally now Lucius is linked to the grimoire towers. He can kill mages, their grimoires return to the tower, but since he's linked to them, he can have access to all of their spells, which literally makes Lucius an even more broken all for one just for Black Clover, which is absolutely insanity. I was not expecting this. But yeah, he uses this chain on Yuno, sealing his magic, until Asta shows up to break him free. It's then that Lucius uses Marks' magic to showcase Asta and Yuno's battle to all of the citizens of the Clover Kingdom. And as he does this, we then cut back to Ryu in the land of the rising sun, as he notices just how strong Lucius has become, and that he's using his ultra magic to use all of these different spells. He calls out to Fuji, who uses his Sound Jutsu Fighter's battle song, which allows Ryu to have his voice heard by anybody no matter where they are, as he speaks to Asta, saying that Lucius is real bad news. And in that instance, Lucius launches all of these multitudes of attacks against Asta and Yuno, and the two of them begin to try and counter. But it's then, as Ryu says, I knew it. He's evading Asta's anti-magic attacks. For some reason, magic's concentrating in the crystal in his chest. So that is a crystal in his chest. Honestly, this gives me Aizen vibes right now, like the Hogyoku when he reached his final form, which I feel like this is since Bleach is a big inspiration on Black Clover, I do think that this is a way to pay homage and inspiration to Lucius's final form design, at least in my opinion. Either way, things are looking pretty interesting. So right now their main target is to attack that crystal core with Asta's Zenin. Then maybe they'll be able to take out Lucius. Lucius appears behind Asta, hitting him with a barrage of different magic attacks, which Asta barely blocks but is knocked back, with Lucius saying, I'll resurrect you as well. This time, I'll grant you the magic a proper living being should have. So just relax and die, as he goes to try and stab Asta with sword magic, but Yuno appears with the shield and blocks it. And just as Asta is getting ready to unleash a powerful Zenin with Li Bei's help, he says, we're not dying. The two of them say in unison, but in the next page, Lucius brings out Asta and Li Bei's mother. Lisita seems to be there in the flesh in that one instance, calling out with a smile Asta and Li Bei's names. This shocks Asta and has him hesitate. And as Lucius gives that twisted, sinister grin, Ryu notices that this is just incredibly off. With Asta's mom there, does that mean that Lucius met him sometime ages ago? Because since he uses flesh, blood, bone, and soul magic, he can resurrect the dead. So we get an image of seemingly Lucius going to where Asta's mother was, which seems to confirm a theory that maybe Lucius, in order to reach his perfect future, to where he wins, went back in time and moved Asta's 5-leaf clover grimoire to the tower, perhaps? And then after seeing that, he now knows about Asta and Li Bei's mother, or maybe he managed to scan their minds with Marx's magic and create an exact replica, for all we know, using the infinite amount of magic spells that he has access to. All these are strong possibilities, but even still, this really messes with Asta, and especially Li Bei, as he remembers his entire life being raised by her as her adoptive son, as her own. And Li Bei says, even if she's an illusion or a fake, with despair and heartbreak in his eyes, he says, I can't cut her. And it's then that Asta and Li Bei's devil union comes undone. And in the last page of chapter 379, Asta and Li Bei get fatally wounded with slashes across their respective chests. As that ends chapter 379. This was a great chapter so far. I love the fight. I love the extra lore with the grimoires and Lucius becoming even more overpowered to an extent which could be a problem, but we'll have to wait and see how it pans out. And I like the psychological warfare that he used against Asta and Li Bei to make him lose Devil Union. That way he can deliver a finishing blow to the two of them. And this also rectifies a bit of a concern I have had since the time skip leading into this final arc, because ever since this whole thing started, ever since the time skip leading into this happened, to Land of the Rising Sun to now, Li Bei's barely been in the story since his proper introduction. He just started feeling like more of a side character, or something that gives Asta power, or a mascot. He hasn't felt like a fully fleshed out character since the Spade arc, and this is definitely the first real instance that we really got to see Li Bei just fully interact with the events of the story, outside of it just being him lending Asta his power to fight in true Devil Union. So it is nice to see that, and I'm hoping that we get to see more of Li Bei be himself and actually have more speaking roles in the future. Now then, let's move on to chapter 380 of Black Clover, and the last chapter we have for the next 3 to 4 months. Chapter 380 of Black Clover, titled The Brink of Despair. Starting off with us seeing that the Clover Kingdom citizens and Ryu are noticing Asta and Li Bei have been fatally wounded by Lucius now that he's been broadcasting their fight to everybody that can see, with Ryu and Ichika reacting to Asta's injuries, and Yuno just staring there in shock, with everyone, including Magic Knight's citizens and his adoptive family from the church, reacting to Asta's fatal injury. Yami even going to say, even if they kill that crazy kid, he won't die, having full faith in Asta still, and Noelle screaming out to Asta. This is something I actually want to point out because I was confused by this. In the official Viz translation for English, it has Noelle saying Asta now, which confused me because nothing else happens based off of that panel. But thanks to my good friend Anime Explained, aka Naruto Explained, the Spanish version was more accurate and translated from that. Noelle was actually saying, Asta, I'm coming. Saying that Noelle, after seeing this, was going to go and help Asta, essentially save him and repay him from him saving her the last time she was in a sticky situation. But also, it's Asta, he's fatally injured, Noelle was going to go and help him regardless. So this is a very bad translation, giving so many people the wrong impression of what Noelle was saying in this instance, and it really, really sucks. But if things couldn't get any worse, Lucius raises his hand, and then, with a rumble, all of the angels that he created rise back up, looking more twisted and contorted, with Morris, Aesir, and Morgan fully resurrected once again in a insane 2-page spread with multiple panels, showcasing their new twisted, contorted Paladin forms, Arc Paladin forms. I would even go as to call them more of a seraphim, if you will. And man, these designs look so cool and nightmarish, as in each of these panels, all of the angels are attacking and killing or brutally injuring magic knights and citizens. Morris is praising Lucius, as Aesir is just saying, come on, let's keep going. As Noelle looks in horror at her mother being resurrected to be even more twisted and even more demonic and just nightmarish in nature. Morgan is saying, brother Yami, let's fight side by side, with all of their speech being delayed and just have this strange echo to them that will ring to the soul. Yami knocked, saying that isn't Morgan, not anymore. How far will he twist human lives, with Yami screaming Lucius' name in anger. And in another 2-page spread, we see an amazing sequence as Lucius, with his other angels, are towering over a bleeding out Asta. As Lucius just says, I thought I killed you last time, and I was wrong. This time, I'll make sure you're dead. But just as it looks like he's about to do something, the Neverland spell that Yuno created to encase the entirety of the Clover Kingdom seems to be receding back into him, as Yuno lunges forward, eradicating all of the angels in the area and charging straight towards Lucius, pushing him back, with Lucius blocking and smiling as Yuno keeps trying to push him. Ryu, seeing with his all-seeing eye, saying that Yuno's power was ferocious before, but now he's going all in. As it seems that Yuno just keeps getting stronger and stronger, which makes sense. It's Yuno, he's loved by Mana and everything that's happened about him. He is insanely strong, and now with Neverland gone, he has even more power directed towards fighting Lucius. But even Lucius says, you're releasing Neverland? Are you sure? The others won't last without it. With Yuno saying, it's a risk, but if I don't act now, he'll finish us. Stating square to Lucius, we're all magic knights. I believe in them. As we see all the members of the Black Bulls getting ready to fight, as it looks like they used up all of their anti-magic, but they'd better get in there and fight. Magna and Luck getting ready to fight again, saying that they're just getting warmed up, and there's no way that Asta's dying, not on their watch. As even more magic knights get up, but they're all essentially watching helplessly that it's all over. Only the Black Bulls are getting back up, and perhaps also the other captains, with Mimosa screaming out for Asta and Yuno. And we see even more great artwork and just insane flashes as Yuno is clashing with Lucius, using his star magic to go back and forth over and over to try and land blows on Lucius. And it works, to the point where even Lucius is impressed. But then Lucius hits Yuno with an insane amount of different types of magic that he's acquired from the Grimoire Towers, as all Lucius says is, you can't beat me now. There's no one who can, with Yuno just barely blocking with his shield. But we cut back to Asta, as Yuno is protecting him, with Asta saying, Not done yet. Yuno, do it. As Asta raises up his Demon Dweller's sword, pointing it towards Yuno, with Asta saying, "I'll catch up fast." And Yuno, with a smile, says right. As it's then that we get a screeching halt, and it seems like Yuno is teleporting Asta away from the area, with Lucius saying, "Doesn't matter where you send him. There's nowhere I can't go." But Yuno says, "You won't have to chase him. He'll come back." And in the final page of the chapter, which is a 2-page spread, Yuno says, "Just as long as I'm here," revealing that Asta gave Yuno his Demon Dweller's sword, and now Yuno has gained Asta's anti-magic, giving him this awesome brand new black and green Emperor design. And Yuno using both swords is insane, and this design looks so freaking cool. The anti-magic looks amazing. Yuno looks absolutely really cool, with even his star magic being imbued with anti-magic infusing into it. It is great. Now that ends the chapter. Now, I'm going to say this. People are already talking about it on Twitter and on TikTok and all that stuff, calling Yuno the king of plot armor, saying that Yuno getting this power is just straight up plot armor. But it's not. With everything involving Yuno, how he has his abilities and powers, how hard he's worked, his bond with Asta, how Asta's anti-magic and the Demon Dweller sword works based on what we've seen throughout the story, this makes complete and total sense. Also, this is a temporary power boost until Asta recovers and can come back and fight, which he most likely will. But still, this is an insane power-up for Yuno, which will allow him to actually fight Lucius one-on-one for a bit. And I'm very excited to see how Yuno imbues anti-magic to his wind and star magic, and how that will give him the push necessary to really fight on seemingly even ground with an even more powerful Lucius. Because, my lord, this is insane. The design looks great. I'm hyped for Yuno. He's really, really cool, and I cannot wait to see what happens with the next batch of chapters. The next batch can't come soon enough. I cannot wait another 3 to 4 months. But what do you guys think of these chapters with the lore, Yuno's power-up, the action, the surprise psychological warfare Lucius was pulling towards Asta and Liebe towards the end of it? How did you feel about all of this? Leave your thoughts and opinions in the comments section down below, and heck, I might make a comment discussion video on these comments for this review, just to have another Black Clover video out so that we can keep talking about it. And I probably will have a video going a bit more into the Grimoire Towers aspect and the lore for that. I'll probably make a video on why Yuno's power-up right now with the anti-magic makes sense. But yeah, for right now, I am excited that Black Clover is back for the time being, and I cannot wait for the next batch of chapters when they come out next quarter. Also, Asta and Liebe's mom, Lucida, would, 100%. I love her.